Hello, hello, professionals. My name is Rico Aladdin, and I am the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we have a very special guest with us. I am in the studio with CEO Shannon. Shannon is the CEO of the Chamber. We are so glad to have Shannon here. I'm going to give her a minute to introduce herself and what she does. Shannon, thank you so much for being here in the studio. I cannot believe it.
I know we finally made it happen,
Yes,
right?
with Professional Lunch. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. It's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Shannon Full. I'm the president and CEO of the Fargo Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce. And so, what do I do? Oh, it's such a great question because it's different every day, right? But the chamber really exists to help individual businesses and communities thrive and prosper, grow. So my job entails lots of different things around anything from helping a small business owner connect with different people that will help them grow their business to programming that we have. I know you're familiar with our leadership program, but
Yes.
we have lots of other programs, women, young professionals, professionals of color. Those are some of our long-time programs. And then public policy. So I do a lot of lobbying. So working with legislators, elected officials at the local, the state, and the national level to make sure that we have good, strong business policies to help our businesses grow. And then finally, we do a ton in talent and workforce. And so some of those programs I mentioned, but a lot of it is working day to day with businesses and individuals that want to really grow themselves, their companies, and the community.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. I like talking to you about the chamber because the chamber is such a big organization. Given the scope of, they have non-profit, for-profit people, and many of the clubs that young professionals can use to develop themselves. So tell us a little bit about your background. How do you get to be where you are today?
Great question. And it was not a straight path, I'll just tell you. I was joking earlier today, I had the same conversation that I don't know that anybody aspires to be a Chamber of Commerce president. I definitely fell or stumbled into this role. My background during college was I was a corporate trainer for the Applebee's Corporation, so I opened new stores and trained new staff. I then had a little stint as the backstage manager for Country Jam USA, so I was able to manage 26 to 28 national country artists coming in for a festival, everything from media to volunteer coordination to working with all the road managers. And that led me into a new company that was opening that had an indoor volleyball complex because I was a really big coach. So I was coaching volleyball, restaurant, sports bar, hospitality. And so I was hired there. And the first thing they told me to do was to join the chamber. So we joined the chamber. I had no idea what a Chamber of Commerce was. I didn't know why I was joining. I quickly learned within 6 months that I really loved the mission of the chamber. I had a great there was a great president and CEO of that chamber who was going to resign. And she said, I really think that you should look at my position. And I thought, I thought she was a little crazy because I said I clearly am not qualified. I don't have the experience, all of that. But this is kind of a true testament to mentorship. She mentored me really intensely for about 6 months, and lo and behold, at the age of 24, I was hired to my first president and CEO position at a chamber.
Wow, wonderful!
I've done that then for now 21 years in the Twin Cities. I also moved then to Melbourne, Florida, and I ran the chamber in Melbourne, Florida for a while, then relocated to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Appleton, Wisconsin, back to the Twin Cities, and now here.
Wow, my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm imagining how the whole going, moving and relocating, how that, how you play this. So tell me about your experience relocating. Does that help you with opportunities?
Yeah, I would say that it was never my intent to relocate, but every single move was a move upward. And so either a larger chamber, a larger staff, more complexity in the program of work. I'll give a perfect example. the move from Florida, Melbourne, Florida to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that was hugely based upon opportunistic and need.
Mm-hmm.
The community had just experienced the $6 billion flood. So 5,400 homes and 1,200 businesses were destroyed in that flood in Cedar Rapids. So I felt a compelling almost desire, need, or draw me in to lead that chamber, as we were the only advocate for business recovery to help those 1,200 businesses recover from the flood. And so it was just more of a, almost that uncontrollable, insatiable type of a desire to make that move. So so generally it was for a greater opportunity or for a greater challenge.
Wow, wonderful. So tell us, how long have you been in this role now?
Yeah, here in the Fargo metro region, my husband and I and 2 children moved Thanksgiving 2 years ago.
Oh,
and
okay.
so I started December of 2020, and so it'll be 2 years in December.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. So where do you see the chamber in 5 years?
Oh, that is such a great question. I could talk for a day on this. We recently have been really had some really big wins. So most recently, you may have heard that the Chamber Foundation, which is the 501c3 division of the chamber that does all of our talent and workforce work, comes out of there. We just received a $9.6 million grant from the Economic Development Administration for called the Good Jobs Challenge, to essentially help credential and skill up over 900 individuals and put them into the workforce. I mention that because it is wins like that that really solidify our foundation of where we're headed in the future. We are really becoming a very credible source and thought leader, not just in the Midwest, but across the country in areas of talent and workforce. But also, I would say, we're doing now a series once a quarter called the Midwest Summits. And these summits are on critical topics like the economy, agriculture, cyber IT, and energy. And what we're doing with that is we have about 25 to 30 other chambers that partner with us and stream this program into their own communities. So we're also curating really high caliber speakers and thought leaders to speak at these Midwest events, but we're also curating a network of collaborators that want to partner to bring great quality and speakers into their own communities, have discussion, and we're just the spark to that. So in the next 5 years, I see us continuing to elevate our brand as a community, as a region, but also as a chamber, and also continuing to take on some tough challenges, looking at new opportunities, all centered around how does this region grow and prosper.
Wow, wonderful. The reason why I have professional lunch is because I want to give less experienced professionals, such as college students, early career professionals, and even high school students, a window into the career they want to pursue. And so having you here today, you have such a rich experience. It's just amazing talking to you and to see how much you want to grow the community, and talking to you about the grant, and congratulations again. Because that was I know that's a very helpful resource for the community. So tell me, you leading a lot of people, a lot of people. Tell me about your leadership style.
Oh, I would love it. I would love to know what they think is my leadership style, right? So we have a team, a very diverse team, really dedicated, passionate professionals.
Yeah.
It is. I would say that in 21 years of doing this, I have never had a more passionate, cohesive, driven team. So it's really a great pleasure and a benefit for me to be able to go to work every day. I learn from them each and every day. So my leadership style is extremely collaborative, extremely transparent. So I will tell everybody I am transparent to a fault. There is very little that my team doesn't know or can't access. And so I believe that access to knowledge is access to power. And so everything from they see all of the budget, they know where they fit into the organization, they know the importance of their role, but they also know what's important to me. What are the core values of our chamber? What do I want? And that I really want the best for them in their profession. So I tell everybody, in the world now, we see our staff and talent, especially for the chamber. We're very outward facing.
Mm-hmm.
So our staff gets poached from us quite often. In the last, I'd say 4 months, we've lost 5 key staff members that have turned over
Mm-hmm.
for greater opportunities. And what I tell all of my team members as part of my leadership style is that my job is to help develop you to wherever you want your future to go. It may or may not be within the chamber. One of the greatest compliments paid to me is when somebody else sees what I see in my people and are able to give them their next launch pad. So very collaborative in style.
Mm-hmm.
I lead with a lot of continual improvement on the radar, right? We're always looking at no matter what our events are, what our programs are, what the outcomes have been, we can always be better. And so we're always striving for excellence.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And the way you speak, you talk about your team. I want to ask you, how much you love your job, and I already guessed the answer. So we're gonna take a short break here. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some of the things that Shannon loves about her job. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We are in the studio at the Bison Information Network studio today with Shannon Fall. Shannon is the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Fargo here. This professional lunch is brought to you by YPN and Ignite. YPN is the club for you. If you're looking for a group to network, find YPN on LinkedIn and connect with them. And also, job. If you're looking for a job, look for Ignite. Ignite has internships and great employers. Find them and connect with them. Now, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me, I want to know, what do you love most about your job right now?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the people,
Okay.
right? The mission of growth and prosperity is a very broad one. It excites me every single day that I get to work with people that really believe in this, right? Whether that be, perfect example this morning, I was at part of the group that was at the announcement for the $14 million NSF grant that NDSU just got. So we're looking at how that's going to grow entrepreneurship and research for the region. And when NDSU succeeds, the region succeeds.
Absolutely.
And so that was my start of my day. I then had a conversation with a new company that is looking at how do we get involved in the community? Can we get connected? Later today, I will have a variety of meetings with some of our top investors around what are the greatest challenges they feel are facing our region. How do we co-create solutions together? So it's all centered around people. That's why what I love doing. But it's also really focused on impact and influence. At the end of the day, I get excited when we can make a difference in some way.
Okay. Do you have a hobby outside of work?
Oh, well, I would say, as a mom of a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, my hobbies are a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. But we do we're very outdoorsy. So we have a boat. We love to go fishing and boating. My daughter is in volleyball, and my son he just is a massive 7-year-old fisherman and hunter. And so
cool.
he likes all those outdoors pieces. Jokingly, I will say, my anniversary was 3 weeks ago. And now I'm the proud new owner of an ice castle fish house for my anniversary gift.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So that my husband is a big hunter and fisher as well. So now apparently we have an ice house that we can do that in the winter. We can camp in the summer.
Wow. Wonderful. Tell me about one of your greatest accomplishments in your career.
I would say one of the greatest accomplishments was, and it seems small, but I'll bring us back to Cedar Rapids in the area when we had all of this devastation. one of the greatest accomplishments we had was we raised $6 million locally
Mhm.
to deploy to small businesses to help them recover. And so these were, I will never forget this image. I would have business owners come to the chamber with shoe boxes or any type of box of flooded receipts and papers that they would say, this is all that's left of my business,
Mhm.
right? I've taken out a second mortgage on my home. I've maxed out all my credit cards.
Mhm.
I need help. And we were able to, myself and my team, we were able to serve as that sounding board to help them analyze, assess, and develop a plan of what does the future look like for them and their business, and then give them some up to $25,000 forgivable grants. So essentially a check for $25,000 for them to keep the lights on, for them to keep their employees. We know that impact had long lasting effects on not just the economy in Cedar Rapids,
Mhm.
but people's livelihoods. And that was probably one of my greatest accomplishments.
Wow. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. We'll talk about the challenges a little later, but you work with a great team, as you mentioned.
Mm.
So when you are bringing someone on board, what is some of the traits that you look for?
So I think the passion and the potential is what I hire for, right? I think that oftentimes we can train any type of, here are the tactical, practical parts,
Mhm.
right? But you can't train passion and you can't train potential, right? And
Yes.
so I look for team members that are hungry,
Mhm.
that want to make a difference,
Mhm.
that align with the mission, that fit with the culture of our team,
Mhm.
and that are often complementary to the team members,
Mhm.
right? I am very much, for instance, the visionary in our organization, right? You ask any of my team members, I go a million miles an hour. I hardly stop for anything. But if you can imagine, if our entire team was filled with that, we would have mass chaos all the time and wouldn't
Yeah.
get anything done, right?
Mhm.
So I have really great integrators, program managers, project people behind the scenes that are really helping to take that vision and implement it and bring it to life. And so we have to have that with our team, very complementary type of skill sets.
Yes, you have a very long experience now, and
Does that just mean I'm old?
no, no. No. But the thing is, what I want to know is what are some of the things you wish you knew, you know,
Mm.
when you were beginning your career?
Mm.
Yeah.
Great question. So being kind of thrust into this at 24,
Mhm.
I definitely knew that I didn't know a lot, right?
Mhm.
I would say that a piece of advice that I got from my mentor as she was working with me was to surround yourself with passionate people that want to see you succeed.
Yes.
And so one of those pieces was I forced myself out of my comfort zone to join some of the national and statewide associations, to surround myself with colleagues that have done this work in the past. And so that was probably one of my greatest lessons learned, was to have that courageous will to kind of push yourself past those boundaries, because it really was the reason I was able to have professional growth to the level and the extent that I had. Maybe what else would I have done differently or learned differently? Interestingly enough, I went to college at University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. I got to my senior year, and I was really enthralled with getting into the business world, right? Like, I just want to work, right? I'm done with this. I ended up leaving the university 6 credits short of my degree. And that was a lesson learned. I did end up completing it, but it wasn't till like 10 years later. When I think back to what a huge mistake that was, right? Like, if I would have just saw it through. However, that allowed me to enter full time into the country jam, and so it paved the path. And I
Yes.
do think things happen for a reason.
Mhm.
But man, it would have been a lot easier if I would have just stuck it out and done it, right?
Yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, okay. So from that lesson, so what would you suggest to I don't know, college students or someone
Yeah.
who's out there who's maybe have the same experience leaving the school because
Mhm.
of certain reason? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that the path never looks like what you think it's going to look like,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it's if you can find your passion and follow that passion, it will all work out in the end. It
Mhm.
just might not look like, maybe definitely not what you think,
Mhm.
but definitely not what others think, right? We have a lot of influencers in our life, whether that be parents, whether that, friends, teachers that are trying to influence us in ways that they think is the best approach.
Mhm.
I think being able to take a step back and really analyze what's best for me and be confident in those decisions and see where the path takes you.
Wow, wonderful. So when you talk about something that is, what's best for you,
Mhm.
there was an issue out there called work-life balance, and I
Uh-huh.
believe as a CEO, you probably have that discussion maybe with your team or maybe with other people. So tell me your take on that.
Yeah, I think it's an anomaly. I mean, I think it's very difficult. I don't know that really work-life balance, in my opinion, really exists. I think
Okay.
it's work-life integration,
Okay.
and where they collide
Mhm.
is often where we have challenges, but it's also where we see new opportunities.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that you asked this question. The chamber is going through EOS or Traction, the
Mhm.
Entrepreneurial Operating System Traction process with the
Mhm.
entire team. So we had an all-day session on Monday, and a good amount of time was spent on my crazy hectic chaotic calendar. Like and it was a pretty emotional time. I think I really was looking at my team,
Mhm.
feeling as though I'm failing my team because I don't give them as much time as I'd like to dedicate to them.
Mhm.
I'm failing the external partners because I don't be able to do enough things like this
Yeah.
externally,
Mhm.
and then my family, right? So you've got all these different pieces that are competing for your time.
Mhm.
And I think for me, it just was really, I had to take a moment to pause and just be really transparent that you're only human and you do
Yes.
the best that you can, and
Mhm.
you have to balance all of that. And I think being really authentic and genuine with people,
Mhm.
upfront with them around, I'm overcommitted, I can't do that. It's not that I don't want to, it's that
Mhm.
I can't. That helps these collisions be a little less abrasive and
Mhm.
a little bit more organic.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness, this is good. I love this conversation. Right now, we're gonna take another break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about some of the challenges that Shannon faced in her line of work. We'll be right back.
Easy. So
CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Shannon. Now we get to the part. This is my favorite part.
okay, great. Should I be scared?
No, 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 no. This is the part that I talk about the challenges because regardless of how good things are, there are
Mhm.
challenges.
Mhm.
So as a CEO of such a big organization, tell me what is the biggest challenge that you have to deal with?
Mm. Oh, to boil it down to one.
Mhm.
I would say the greatest challenge we face as an organization
Mhm.
is lack of awareness.
Mm.
People don't, despite really great efforts of, we've got a phenomenal communications team, we've got a great social media presence. People are really confused about the Chamber of Commerce. What do we do? What do we stand for? There's a lot of myths around it. Is it part of the county or the city? Is it a public sector? How are you funded? What is your mission? Why do you exist? So I think getting our word out there and really increasing engagement, right? We want, you mentioned before that many could join the Young Professionals Network.
Mhm.
We have a huge opportunity to strengthen the collaboration and partnership with NDSU, but also our other universities, our nonprofits, so that we can have higher levels of engagement. So more community members involved with our organization. That's our greatest challenge, is just people knowing what we're doing and seeing opportunities for them
Mhm.
to engage. The more diverse thought leaders we have at the table,
Mhm.
the stronger not only our organization will be, the stronger our community will be.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So, can you think of a time that you have a challenge that you had as a CEO of the company and of the organization, and what did you do? How did you fix it? How
Mm.
did you go about it? And what was the result?
Oh, there are many
Okay.
challenges. I'll maybe share one a little bit more with that's more personal.
Okay,
How about
sure,
that?
sure.
So, in one of my roles, and one of my chambers I was at. So all of the chambers have boards of directors. You're well aware of this, right? Anywhere
Yes.
from 16 to at one point I had 40 board members. So lots of different board members. They're involved for different reasons, and some of them. One instance, I had a board member that wasn't involved for genuine reasons.
Okay.
She had a very strong motivation.
Mhm.
She was feeling a little threatened by a new, strong female in the community that was getting a lot of things done. I think a lot of it stemmed from um, jealousy,
Yeah.
or she put a pretty big target on my back to join the board, join the executive committee. I believe full-fledged with the goal of not having me in the organization any longer. And
Oh.
so when you talk about that's been my greatest professional challenge as an individual in my entire career. So how I dealt with that.
Mhm.
It was being really first started with very forthright conversations with her.
Mhm.
Didn't go very well. So then it was how do I in a very positive manner demonstrate the successes that we had as a chamber under my leadership. Took away the emotional side of it and focused solely on the mission, the outcomes, the metrics, and for that became really successful in that. I would say that ultimately it played into our decision to move on to a different chamber. It was that much of an influence on it, but it wasn't the sole reason. So I just think that many need to hear that from other people, that
Mhm.
that there are struggles like that, and it takes a lot of. I had a lot of great mentors and insiders that gave me advice and thoughts in a very, confidential manner, and so it all turned out great. It all turned out fine, but nonetheless, it was
It was
very difficult.
it was challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, uh, tell me, what is the best part of being a CEO, and also what is the worst part of being a CEO,
Mm.
if there is a worst part?
The best part of being a CEO is being able to work with the team that I
Mhm.
get to work with. And when I say a team, I've got a tremendous internal team of 25 team members.
Mhm.
But my team also is my board of directors is a team. The general community is a team. All of the different partners that we work with is part of the team. And so that by far is the best part of what I do.
Mhm.
The worst part or the most challenging part,
Mhm.
I would say, is when we have challenges out of our control that we have to address, right?
Mhm.
So some of this might be when we lose really good people, right? Even though I'm excited for their opportunities, it puts a lot of stress on the rest of the team and on myself on how do you, every time we have some type of a transition in the staff, we also assess the accountability chart and the organizational chart to say, do we have the right people in the right seats on the bus, right? And so, so that's probably the most challenging part. I would say the other part for me as a CEO is to balance the return on investment of our programs to the finances, to operating like a business, all of those pieces.
All right. Describe a time for me where you have to make a big decision, a tough decision, whether it's budget cuts or whether it's organizational restructuring or something like that, and how did you do it?
So probably one of the greatest decisions I had to make in the Twin Cities marketplace before I came here. It's very, very different than here. So in the Twin Cities, um, I love the Twin Cities, but it's very fragmented and very fractured. So in the Twin Cities marketplace, there are 29 local chambers of commerce within the metro.
Wow.
We have one.
Hmm.
So in the Twin Cities, there's a lot of dilution of our effectiveness, of our impact, of our actions. And it was hard. I'm a very collaborative minded person. And so it was very hard to build that collaborative cohesion in the Twin Cities, which was really frustrating for me. But I thought, could we do something to incite action around that? So in fact, my chamber, which was the Twin West Chamber, 10 of the western suburbs, went through a very large process, and we actually merged with the Minneapolis Chamber. So two of the largest chambers in the metro came together as one chamber, which was interesting because it essentially eliminated my position as the CEO, right? There was only one CEO. I would take that role as the executive vice president. I was okay with that because I think I was looking out for what's in the betterment of our members and of the community. But it didn't incite action for other chambers to do the same, which was a little bit disappointing. But that was a major decision because we didn't make everybody happy, right? There were people that were not in favor of the merger, that were not looking for, they wanted us to be in our own thing, do our own thing, be on our own island. So yeah, that was a difficult time.
Yeah, I know we talk about the biggest challenge and you share, a quick story with me, but when it comes to people management, how is that a challenge at the chamber for you?
People management? I would say it's getting way better because we've started to put in, we've intentionally leaned into building our culture, creating clear expectations, having policies and procedures, a more concrete onboarding process. If people know their expectations coming into something, it's a lot easier to then lead those people, right? And so we also are creating an opportunity for everyone on the team to sit around the table and help us decide, what does the future look like? What do we want to see? I believe very strongly in professional development. So every team member has the opportunity to tell me what are the ways that they would like to be developed? How do they want to go to conferences? Are there classes? Is there something online? Is it is it mentoring sessions? Is it so anything that they identify, we go through almost like that personalized coaching plan for each of the team members.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I guess my next question was going to be to ask you, what's the culture like at the chamber?
Yeah. The culture's really really good.
That's
I'll
good.
knock on wood. It's really good. But it does not come automatically, right? The companies that I see that have really great culture is because they work on it, and they've spent time on core values. They've spent time on mission alignment. They've spent time on investing in their people. And so our culture certainly isn't perfect. We have a long way to go. We have a lot of opportunities ahead of us, but we've laid the right groundwork, and we have open, honest, transparent conversations on how we respect one another. What do we do to make sure that we're lifting each other up, that we're supporting each other? It goes a long ways. And I think the other part of it, one of the greatest compliments, I have a new team member that has been here a month, and I met with him 3 days in. And one of the greatest compliments was he paid to me in my career was, Shannon, there is just a very contagious vibe here of positivity and support, and I've never felt that, but it comes in any other position, but it comes through so clearly, and I'm only on day 3.
Wow,
so
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. Well, Professional Lunch is so grateful that you are here today, Shannon. I have to tell you, and the reason why again that we have this conversation with professionals like yourselves, very big career. You're the CEO of a Chamber of Commerce, many organization together. You are able to bring so many businesses, people, and professionals together. And I really admire that. And I think I say that more than once. So it's so good to have you here today sharing your experience. with us. So, what advice do you have for college students who's watching this right now? Maybe they're about to graduate, maybe they are in their
Yeah.
senior year, and what advice would you give them as they are thinking of a career, thinking of something major, deciding on a major?
Yeah. I would say be bold,
Hmm.
find that passion, have the courageous will to make the connections. So often um, we are too afraid to reach out, introduce ourselves to new people, ask for a mentor. Like when we talk about, I've had numerous mentors throughout my career, and none of them have come to me and said, "Gosh, I'd really like to mentor you." Right? I've had to put myself out there and say, I really need a mentor. Would you be willing to do so? And this is my expectation with that.
Hmm.
So I think that those are probably the greatest pieces of advice. Get involved and engaged, right? We have an unbelievably untapped marketplace with almost 35,000 students here, 5
Hmm.
universities in our region. One of my desires and goals is to get more and more of our college students engaged in the community, embedded into our community, connected with our companies. Because at the end of the day, we need this great young talent to be our future talent pipeline. We want them to stay here. We want them to have families here. We want them to live here, to thrive here. So I would just say to the students, find somewhere to get involved, and because there's a lot of people that would really love to see you succeed.
Wow, Shannon, it's so nice to talk to you. I have to ask you a question that I started asking this season of the show. What does kindness mean to you?
Oh, what does kindness
When I
mean
say
to you?
kindness, what does that mean to you?
I think kindness is giving of yourself, knowing that the results will be far more than what you could do by yourself, right? So
Ooh,
kindness
yes,
is
wonderful.
just helping others in a way that is greater than yourself.
Wow, this is great. Has your position given you opportunities to be kind to others?
Oh, without a doubt. I think we see um, that, I think there is not a better compliment you could pay anybody. In fact,
Mhm.
this is my 10-year-old daughter, her teacher sent a message 2 days ago, in fact, saying, I just want you to know that I have never had a student that is more kind than your daughter.
Oh my goodness.
And that it gets me teared up, right? As a
Yes.
parent, it makes you so proud because there is not a better compliment.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Anything else you want to tell the professional lunch audience?
No, I just think, you can hear in my energy and my passion.
Mhm.
I love this community. I
Yes.
think we've got huge opportunities and potential here.
Mhm.
And I've never witnessed a community that shows up for one another more than this community does. So I would embrace that, lean into that, because we really do want to see everyone succeed.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh my goodness. This professional lunch episode is brought to you by the YPN. YPN is part of the chamber. Now, if you are a student, a professional, find them and connect with them to network. And also by Ignite. You want a job? Go to ignite.com on the chamber and find them so that you can connect with them. Shannon, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here today. It's such a pleasure to have you. It was a very great show. I'm so glad you came on today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. Have a great day.